So today I'm with Honorable Professor Dr. Singer, who is a great influential philosopher of the latest century on practical ethics and general philosophy and animal rights. So Dr. Professor Singer, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's an immense honor to speak
It's
with
my
someone
pleasure, Pina. I'm very happy to
who has
speak to you.
studied global ethics and animal rights activism, as I'm an animal rights activist and an active vegan, and my family as well. So I would like to talk to you about animal liberation and how we can increase the awareness of animal rights in the world. So my first question would be, after decades of advocacy, what do you think is the single most effective thing we as individuals or societies can do right now to meaningfully reduce animal suffering? What is still missing in our collective moral imagination?
Well, I think it's really the same thing that it has been for the last 50 years anyway, that I've been writing about, and that is individually we should stop consuming animals. The worst thing that we do to animals on the largest scale that inflicts the most suffering is essentially raising them for food, just treating them as commodities to produce. This is now typically done in industrial agriculture, in factory farms where tens of thousands of animals are crowded together in sheds where they hardly have room to move, and they're very stressed from the crowding, and no notice is taken of their well-being. They're just machines for converting grains or soybeans into flesh or other animal products. So I think ceasing to do that yourself and encouraging others to stop doing that, helping to spread information about how awful the way that animals are produced is for the animals, also for the climate and the environment generally. That I think is the single most important thing we can do.
Yes, agreed. Totally agreed. Also supporting that cause with all that I can do. Another question is, I think that's very important for us, because I feel like there is a big obstacle that is preventing us to achieve global awareness somewhere. And I want to know what you think is the greatest obstacle for gaining this broader societal support. Where are we getting stuck with animal rights? And is there something we should do? Is there any
Well,
practice?
I mean, I think part of it is simply that people don't really want to know unpleasant truths, and they don't want to know unpleasant truths that might interfere with what they eat. They're in the habit of eating meat. They like eating meat, or they think that it's better and tastier than other kinds of food. And if they know about how badly the animals are treated, they will become uncomfortable about that. So they tend to turn away from that. I think that's a big factor. Of course, the industry itself that produces meat is a huge industry, and it has a lot of money, and it spends a lot of it on advertising and tries to persuade people that eating meat is normal and desirable. So that's another obstacle. But in general, I think it's people's conservatism in trying to changing what they eat. For many people, I mean, some people do it. You obviously do it, and many other animal rights activists do, but still not enough, and that needs to spread.
Yeah. On a personal note, I've converted all of my family, my inner family, like my mom, my brother, my dad, to nearly fully veganism, apart from my dad. He sometimes consumes some marine animals because he's from Ireland, which is a shame for me, but he's 95% vegan, I can say. Flexible, flexitarian, let's say,
Right.
in
Yeah.
your,
Yeah.
so name that.
Yes.
Uh, Called Why Vegan. So the only question is, so do animals other than men suffer from Penguin Great Books, which I also translated to Turkish as Neden Vegan? Why Vegan? In this book, you mentioned that you are not 100% vegan because when you travel, there can be some exceptions. So you can sometimes accept some like milk ingredients or eggs ingredients, as I remember.
That's
Um,
right.
Yeah, on a personal note, I have transformed all of my family, my very close friends, and some of my academic friends to veganism, and I'm still doing that actively. Also,
Good. We
I'm
need
writing.
we need more people like you who can successfully do that.
I'm also writing my personal blog called thepieperspective.com. I mention animal rights very frequently there, and I write in some magazines, journals, psychology journals, and I try to bring that perspective on animal rights as much as I can, and also using science, neuroscience, neuropsychology. I'm trying to achieve that, increase awareness on animal products not being very healthy, like public things. Like milk is not that good for your bones. Egg is not
Mhm.
that good because it can increase prostate cancer and breast cancer. As most people right now know, in the last decade, that colon cancer increases with processed meat and red meats. So
Right.
this is what I'm trying to do on my field with science. But I'm really questioning if that's enough. Is there something else that I should do more? Do you think like converting my friends and family is enough, or should I do aim for more popular media, like we mentioned in our previous talk? Like,
Yeah, I think if you have the skills to do it, if you can write well and clearly in ways that people will read, and you can uh, publish things in popular places where many people will get to know about them, or if you can make your blog more popular, if you're writing a blog, I think those are all good things to do. I think we need to try to communicate as widely as we can.
okay, so for the audience right now on my YouTube channel, can we also recommend them to still pursuing converting their friends and families to
Yes,
pursue
certainly.
scale?
I think, yeah.
One person changes a lot, do you think?
Well, I think, as much as you can do, I think it's very good that you've been able to persuade your family to change. I must admit, I never succeeded in getting my parents or my sister to become vegan or or even vegetarian. Although my wife and children are vegetarian. But yeah, I think everybody should do what they can. Some people are more gifted at being persuading others. They're more articulate. They have better arguments. They know how to approach people. Other people not quite so well. But I think everybody should try. That's what the movement needs to do. And of course, you can work with organizations. That's another thing. If there are animal welfare organizations where you live that have strong enough stand that are also opposed, not just trying to protect dogs and cats and the animals that most people love and don't eat, but also the farmed animals and perhaps animals used in laboratories, then I think they deserve your support as well.
Totally. So I have a couple of more questions for you. So one is about future. Do you still feel hopeful about the moral evolution of the human species, or has our progress been mostly superficial?
Oh no, I think we've made a lot of real progress, throughout millennia. We are much more concerned about uh, ethics and strangers, the well-being of strangers, than we used to be. We respect, most people at least acknowledge that they should respect the rights of others. It doesn't always happen, but that's a concept that people have. So I think we've made a lot of moral progress over the past few thousand years, but we still have some way to go, and it will take some time, I think, before we really completely eliminate the suffering we inflict on non-human animals.
Yeah, but you seem hopeful, right? We are making
I'm
progress.
reasonably hopeful. Yeah, actually, I'll just mention you may know I do a podcast with a colleague called Lives Well Lived, which is available on most of the places that have podcasts. And we just did an interview. We haven't released it yet. We will release it on Thursday. With Wayne Sung. I don't know if you know him. He's an American activist who started an organization called Direct Action Everywhere.
Yeah,
And
thank
he also is engaged in open rescue. He's gone into factory farms and rescued very ill, often dying animals and videoed them to show the condition in the farms. And he's risked going to prison. In fact, he has gone to prison for some months, but he risked going to prison for years. Fortunately, the jury refused to convict him when they saw how he'd helped the animals. But he's very optimistic. He thinks that we can end animal suffering within his own lifetime. He's a lot younger than I am, but he's maybe in his 40s, I think. So uh, if that's the case, you should certainly be able to end suffering in your lifetime. I think you're significantly younger than he is. Um, so that's he thinks that the pace of progress is increasing, and he focuses on the rate of change for animals. So he's optimistic, and I think we should try to be optimistic and do what we can to make this happen.
Yeah, I think also people from the US, from the States, they can also take part in direct action and open rescue. Also in Canada, I know there are some organizations like this, but in Turkey we don't have that yet. We are still fighting for the rights of horses and
Hmm.
dogs, stray cats and
Right.
dogs. So we are
Yeah.
very backwarded close comparison to you, but I think we will come there as well.
Yeah. No, I know
Uh,
you've made progress. Actually, I got to know a few years ago a young woman who had campaigned with the mayor of Istanbul about the horses on Prince's Islands, and helped to get rid of them. She's now living in Florida, I think. She's moved to the United States, but she was a very bold Turkish woman who I think was able to have some impact for horses, and that's good. But of course, horses are just a tiny, tiny fraction of the number of animals that we misuse and mistreat, and people do have some attraction to horses, which they may not have to cows and pigs and chickens. So that's where it's necessary and a little bit harder to make those changes.
and also the religion factor is affecting Turkey. Even though we're a secular country, the religious impact is quite high. So that's what we are also trying to deal with. So I think we will still take a progress, but a slower progress than most of the other states and countries. But
Right.
my
Yeah.
best. So I would like to also thank you for these the one of like your biggest book, my favorite book, Practical Ethics, because without that book, we couldn't be anywhere where we are right now.
Well,
So
thank you.
many
I'm glad you like that book. Yeah, right.
that's my like that is my religious book, to be honest with you. After The Origin of Species, these are my guides in life. Um, Also, I wanted to mention that my brother Attila Volga, he's gaining fame in Turkey with his art. He's a physicist, nuclear physicist like me. He's a scientist like me, but
Mhm.
he's also doing more arts lately. So he's a singer. He has his own music. He composes songs, and for the last 5 years, he has made some nice vegan musics, animal rights musics, and he's been singing them on festivals. Like maybe you heard of that Didim Veg Fest. We have vegan festivals in Turkey.
All
So
right.
he's
Okay, great.
singing songs on like last breath of animals, how we are killing them for food and other luxuries. Um, so maybe he will also support our case with his music and songs and arts. So I wanted to mention that to you, and I'll send you some links on my
Great.
brother's songs. And my last question for you, it would be something like also a legacy if you would like to leave. If the entire world was on my YouTube channel by chance and they were to listen to you just once, what single idea that you would like to emphasize and would like them to understand and also take action on?
Well, it's really the idea that I already mentioned that, but putting it in a slightly different way, I would like people to understand that if they buy products from industrial animal farming, from factory farms, they are supporting that. That's really the only support the industry needs, that people continue to buy its products. So I think if you want to live ethically, you can't support this mistreatment on a vast scale of animals. And if you really want to know what it's like, there's plenty of videos you can watch online that will tell you about it from, I don't know about Turkish ones, but certainly there are many in English, like from People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, from many other organizations also. From the person I was talking to you about, Wayne Xiong, their organizations have videos. So it's easy to see how bad this is. And once you've seen how bad it is, I think you should make sure that you don't support it by buying the products.
So you believe visual imagery is very important for converting to veganism,
For
or
many people it is. Of course, some people will just turn away. They will know that they're going to see something they don't like and they will turn away. So I think using words and argument is also very important. But I think they both have an effect. There
so
is
we should still go on showing people the images, the videos as vegans or animal rights activists.
We should at least let them know that those videos are there, and so that they know that if they don't watch them, well, those things are still happening, and they're just as responsible for them if they buy those products, whether they've seen the videos or not. It's not a way of evading responsibility if you're going to continue to buy those products.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So before we close, I would like to mention to our audience that you have co-authored another new book called The Great Ape Project. No, The Great Ape Rapes, right? The Great Apes?
So the new book that is coming out, is that what you're referring to? The one with Paula Casal? Um, it's not called the Great Ape Project. I can't remember exactly what it's called now. I should. It's something like
On Great Apes, right?
it's about apes. I can find it. I think if I get a title, just a moment.
So there's a new book, Professor Peter
There's a new
Singer,
book that will be coming out. Yes, um,
with a Spanish author. So um,
with Paula Casal. Let me just see what the actual English title is. Um, okay, it's called Great Ape Rights.
Great Ape Rights.
Yep, that's right.
You can follow that book if you would like to read it, and I will try my best to translate it into Turkish because I have some very good publications
Yeah.
in
But
Turkey.
but it hasn't been published yet in English, so you can't read
So
it. It's only been published in Spanish. So if you read
I'm
Spanish,
waiting.
you can read it. But otherwise, it will be out in a few months, I think, in English.
Okay, so and there's one last mention again. This book by Peter Singer, Why Vegan, has been published now 3 years ago, right? Has it been?
I think so. Yeah, that
It's a pocket book by Penguin.
very slim book. Yep,
Very easy read. You can read it in an hour or a couple of hours
easily.
easily.
Yep, yeah.
It talks very practically, so you don't really need an philosophical background. So it's an introduction to why you should become a vegan. And if you're a Turkish audience, the translation is made by me by Ayrıntı Yayınları. So you're very welcome to read and learn about veganism and help out animals that cannot talk and speak for themselves. And I'm very honored to make this interview with one of my favorite philosophers who's alive, and I made the chance to meet him in person. So I will never forget this. This is my most valuable time on earth.
Thank you.
Feels like it feels introduce meeting with Charles Darwin for me.
It would be nice to meet Charles Darwin. I think he's had a bigger impact, but anyway, thank you very much for your kind words.
I'm not too sure if he made a bigger impact because you're as big, I can
Well,
assure you.
he changed our thinking about where we come from, and that's very important, very fundamental.
Things are thinking about practical ethics. Before you, we didn't know there was practical ethics.
Okay.
So many thanks.
All
Many
right.
thanks for
Good to talk to you. Okay, so I'll say farewell to you personally, and